this Goku for someone, and I'm with therealmanos.
Hi, everybody.
And for now, we're going to call him Gamer. He doesn't got a YouTube channel up, but when he has his channel up, I will put a link below to both of your channels. And we'll be talking about this year's comic book movies. Okay. Which one do you want to start out with?
Let's start with, let's start with the most obvious one, The Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises. Yes.
Sounds good.
Yes. That one's gonna bomb, right?
Oh, yeah, totally. No one's gonna see that.
Yeah, I mean, it's absurd.
Got the
Because
worst villains in it ever.
I mean, first of all, nobody died while filming the movie, so it can't be successful, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't wait to put that myth to rest.
Yes, because I think Blows Himself Up Dude, I think, said it best. True fans had already bought their ticket when they showed the card at the end of Batman Begins.
Yes. And when Ledger was still alive and they showed that trailer, that cemented it, frankly. It started to people started to really get excited when that trailer hit.
Yeah, absolutely. I've noticed something, and please stop me if I'm wrong. You're a Catwoman fan, right?
Yeah. I like Catwoman a lot.
Okay, good. Then you're in good company. She is my favorite Batman villain.
Mm-hmm.
Which a lot of people get me on, oh, she's not really a villain. Well, yeah, she is.
She's kind of, I don't know, you could still classify her as a villain, but she really has evolved since then. I think probably since Frank Miller's Year One, where he showed a really good, strong motivation for what she does. And ever since then, she's almost kind of been an anti-hero rather than a villain.
She absolutely has evolved, but she started out as a villain. So I think that when you're classifying a character, if they start one place and then end another place, they should be considered in both categories. Because she didn't start out an anti-hero.
Not in real publishing, as she has originally appeared in the decades.
Yes. But she has grown over time. But, yeah, I mean, like, I remember on one comment I did a video on Dark Knight Rises, and I was talking about the villains I wanted. And I was one of the people that wanted the villain set that was never going to happen.
Yeah.
I wanted Catwoman and the Riddler.
I don't know. I've never been the biggest Riddler fan. I was very excited about the combination of Catwoman and Bane, because I really like those characters. I wanted Bane exposed on film closer to what he's supposed to be like. And I really love Catwoman. I mean, if you do Joker, then usually the next character villain I want to see is Catwoman. I was really surprised about the resistance some fans had about seeing her again. It's like, come on, it's Catwoman, guys.
Well, people think that she's like that in the comics or something. Like, people think that the stuff you see in films are like the comics.
Yeah.
And it's absurd. But one comment I got was, she's too unrealistic to do on film. I love that comment.
Who said that? That comment makes no sense.
Yes. It's like the most realistic Batman villain is now categorized as unrealistic.
Yeah. Got that.
How is she unrealistic and Batman is realistic? I don't get that.
Well, the point is Nolan made some offhanded comment that it's too hard to explain one person who has an animal motif running around on rooftops, so I certainly couldn't do two.
Oh, did he say that?
I think. I've heard that quoted. I don't know how true it is.
No, I don't know.
Well, the point is there's a really good explanation, and the first film did it. People are copycats. They exist.
I think, well, that's true. That happens. I mean, that happens in the second film with those vigilante gangs dressed up as Batman, with the shotguns.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not hard to imagine, and it's been kind of like done in comics that Batman was an influence on her and her creation of the Catwoman character.
Yeah.
So it's not unlikely. I think something that frustrates me about fans is they take Nolan's realistic. They've taken Nolan's realistic view of the Batman universe, I think, too seriously in their speculations. Like every time a new villain's discussed, they go, "Oh no, he's doing realistic," as if Nolan is doing
a documentary on real events.
Yeah, it's like he's doing a documentary on Law and Order or something like that.
Yeah.
You guys are taking this way too far in your speculation.
Yeah. Well, like, there are villains you would not see, like Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, Man-Bat, because they have supernatural explanations that are so core-rooted in their character that you couldn't separate it from that character.
Mm-hmm.
Where Bane doesn't have that. To where I said, just make it like steroids. I don't know if they're doing that, but that's my explanation of how you get around it. But a gamer wanted to say something here.
No, I was just agreeing with
Okay. Well, one thing I do want to, as we continue, I don't know how much spoilerish stuff you look up.
I try to avoid it.
You try to avoid it? Okay, so we don't want to talk about, nothing that has been in a standard trailer is to be talked about, right?
Sure.
Okay, I just want to get on what, because I do look up that stuff, and I just want to know what we are. But I do want to talk about a theory. There's two theories going around, and I want your opinion on these. These are just theories, and there's no evidence to support them, so they can't be considered spoilers, I don't think, right?
I would agree to that.
Do you know, Jorson Gordon-Levitt?
Yeah.
There are rumors of who his character really is.
Yeah, I think fans have kind of caught on to Nolan's methodology. Like, for instance, Batman Begins, where we're totally faked out as an audience who Ra's al Ghul is in the movie. I mean, they even marketed the action figure with the different actor playing Ra's al Ghul. So I think fans are now going, oh, well, what's the bait and switch in this movie?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of speculation on Joseph Gordon-Levitt and also Marianne Cotillard, and a lot of people are thinking she's really Talia.
Well, that's when I was going to say spoilers, because I don't think that's a rumor anymore. I've seen enough pictures online that if she's not Talia, then that's the bait and switch.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what's so great about Nolan is he knows who's watching these films. He knows who really, you see someone in some kind of outfit, people flip out. So, he knows all this. And the thing is, he hates people knowing anything about his films before they come out, which makes it really challenging to do something like Batman, because everybody wants to know instantly what they're doing.
Yes. But the two rumors are heard, and I want your opinion. I also want your opinion, gamer, on this. Mm-hmm. The first one is that he's the Joker, and he's only going to be in flashbacks.
Yeah, I don't know.
The Joker?
Yeah, that he's going to be basically where they're going to tell the Joker's origins, and it's going to be his character. Like, basically, he's going to be a cop that gets the scars, and then at the very end or somewhere in the movie, you're going to see him smile or do something. And
I really don't think they'll do that.
I completely doubt that too.
I don't think so, because that wouldn't be relevant to anything.
Yeah.
Really.
The theory that I've kind of came up with, and I've heard other people come up with this one, is what if he's Nolan's version of Nightwing?
I hope not, because then he'll be like an old dude. Although, here's the thing, like, Rises takes place 8 years, from what I understand, after Dark Knight.
Yeah, so my theory is that Batman is gotten away, and he's basically taken up the mantle, and he's trying to save the city from whatever's going on. Like, that's kind of a theory I kind of put. He's probably just going to be a beat cop, and we're probably talking about nonsense right now.
That's what's hilarious. I mean, he could be anything.
Yes. But yeah, what do you think about that theory that he might be Nightwing?
I can't really picture that either. I don't really think that he would be Nightwing or Joker.
Yeah. We're certainly going to have to wait to see on that. What do you think about the Catwoman costume? Manos.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were asking Gamer. I like the costume overall. I would have preferred it if we had the Darwin Cook costume, which I think is my favorite Catwoman costume.
Which one is that?
That's the one she's currently wearing, the one with the goggles.
Well, this is close to that.
It's close. It actually, from the neck down, it's pretty close to the same costume.
Yeah, I don't like the mask either, but I mean...
I do like the mask. I love how that one shot came out with her wearing the goggles and everybody flipped out. It's like, this is one shot. Give it a second for us to see the, official costume. It's like, and lo and behold, she had, a different look as her official costume.
Yeah.
And that scene she probably throws on the goggles. But yeah, she has the ears. The costume, surprisingly enough, reminds me a lot of the Julie Newmar Eartha Kitt costume from the 60s show.
Yeah. Well, I also have a theory on Catwoman that I don't think she'll be Catwoman. I think she'll be a cat burglar, and they're never going to reference the name Catwoman because it's unimportant to the character.
But she'd still be, because she would be a cat burglar, she would still be Catwoman, even though they don't reference her.
Yeah, but I don't think they'll use that name because, in my opinion, it's not important to the character.
I don't know. Scarecrow got called Scarecrow. Of course, Joker refers to himself as Joker. It depends how big she is in the film.
Yes. I certainly think she'll be a B-villain. I don't think she'll have any status beyond B-villain.
If the film is about... If the film is some sort of troika between Batman, Catwoman, and Bane, then, yeah, I think she will be referred to as Catwoman. But if she has a smaller role, like Two-Face did in Dark Knight, it's possible she won't be named.
But Two-Face was named in Dark Knight also.
Yeah, that's true. People had that nick. That's right. So you know what? I'm going to say she will be named.
You think she will be named?
I think she will be named. Just guessing.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. And I don't mind the actress. Like, I've known a lot of people have told me that the only thing they like, if you don't see her breasts, then she's not good in a movie.
Oh, that's not nice. What do you think of the actress?
Personally, I've seen one movie with her, and it's not a very good test to see if she can play Catwoman. So
what was it?
Princess Diaries? Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
One or two of that.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go.
I've seen her in Get Smart, and she's fantastic in Get Smart.
Oh, I forgot she was in Get Smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Anne Hathaway is great in Get Smart.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. She's not seductress in any of her movies, but you also got to realize that actors have to do something. Actors have to do something first for you to know they can do it.
Yeah, I mean, I've pointed this out over and over again. I mean, how many times had Heath Ledger played a character like Joker before he did The Dark Knight?
Oh, it still bugs me to this day when like I was at a friend's house and I basically said the line that you've heard a billion times, how Jack Nicholson didn't play the Joker, and they basically, all three of them attacked me and swarmed and go that Heath Ledger was nowhere near as good as Jack Nicholson, and I couldn't defend my position because it was 3 against 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the point is that Heath Ledger did something vastly different than he normally does, so thus it was a better performance based on that solely. If you enjoy it more, that's up to you, but I don't think there's any competition who did a better performance in that aspect, I think.
Yeah. I mean, actors get paid to act, and they're often inspired and encouraged by the director. It's the director's job to push an actor into a certain kind of role, even if they don't always do it. And that's what he did with Ledger, and turned out that amazing performance. And I think Anne Hathaway's a really good actress. I mean, she's best known for a lot of cutesy roles, but she's very capable. I mean, she can disappear into a role, like she plays one of the wives in Brokeback Mountain, where she's completely different. And
seen that movie.
And then is 99. I tell anybody, like, you know, if you're doubtful, you should watch some of her older films, and I think she can pull it off. Now, I mean, will she pull it? I don't know. I have to see the movie, but I think she's more than capable of doing that.
Yeah. Let's get on to the next film, because we've been talking about this for a while, and I think we've talked about the main points. So which one do you want to go next? To Avengers? Avengers. Okay. You on one of your videos brought up that you think it's going to be the Skrulls.
I think it's going to be the Skrulls, but, you know, I'm only 90% sure of that.
Okay. What's that big serpent-like thing? What do you think that is?
It's probably a robot spaceship thingy.
Okay.
That they made up for the movie.
Did you see the new trailer?
That's the one where he's being chased by it, right?
No,
or is there another new one?
It came out, I think, today. There was a new trailer.
Oh, man. No, I didn't see that one.
It's a Japanese trailer.
Okay. I have not seen that one.
Okay. Well, in it, just to spoil one quick scene of it, the very opening, you see, like, a wormhole, and those, like, biker guys come out of it.
Okay.
So that's kind of leaning me towards they're not Skrulls, because they're not in a spaceship, but that doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of seems more Asgard to me, but also they did show the Rainbow Road, so I think it would be more similar to that. It's possible that that the Skrulls go to planets via wormholes. I mean, it'd be different than the comics, but they've already proven that they're going to be doing different things, right?
Yeah, I mean, Jarvis is a computer program, not a person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Have you heard the rumor that Thanos is going to be an arcing villain for a trilogy?
Oh wow, I have not heard that. But that would be great to see. And also pretty typically, he's like, you know, one of the big bads in the Marvel universe. So if you're going to do this, that would be an ideal choice. It seems like, from what I can tell, the main plot is Loki manipulating an alien invasion. At least that's what it seems to me from watching the trailers.
Yeah.
And who that alien race is, it's up for grabs. It could be the Skrulls, although, to be honest, it could be made-up alien race, you know, 45B. It could be anybody.
Yeah, it absolutely could be. But the one thing is that they're saying that for him to get back to Earth, he went through kind of like the dark recesses of the Asgard. Like he had to go through the black market of the underworld.
Yeah.
And that seems like a likely place for him to have met Thanos in some way, because I think Thanos would be in a place like that. Am I wrong? Is Thanos that kind of guy that he's kind of lurking around in places that you would never want to go?
No, you're not wrong. And it seems like something like this franchise would do. What I've noticed with the Marvel movies that aren't Sony or Fox is they've done a really good job doing in film what Marvel has been doing in comics for all these decades, is sort of building a universe with every story and having them sort of connect, even in small ways, and influence each other. And
yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time I've ever seen this in a superhero film franchise. which I think is really exciting. And they've so far done a really great job where it's not too distracting from the individual film. At least so far, I don't think it's really been frustrating to watch.
And the thing that really upsets me is when DC announced they're going to do the Justice League and they're going to use all new characters, and this is the smartest way to go about doing a teen movie like this, I think.
Well, I think if Warner Brothers goes through with the Justice League plan in the way they're discussing, where it doesn't connect at all to the Nolan films or the Zack Snyder Superman film, that's actually kind of typical. And it's interesting how the DC movies and the Marvel movies are much like the way they go about their comics, where things sort of build and create off each other in the Marvel books for this unified universe, and the DC movies don't have any connection with each other, so they can create or recreate, whatever continuity they need. And gee, that's exactly the same way they do their comics.
Yeah, I'm not really that, I read a handful of comics. Right now I'm reading the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comics. So most of my comic knowledge comes from Wikipedia and researching stuff and friends and all that. So I certainly don't know the politics of the arcing stories and the stuff they do in comics these days. But I do know the big things that are going on in the comics. So
yeah.
I got into comics, really quick history lesson. I got into comics because of media. The 90s cartoons were how I got into comics.
Exactly. That's how I got into comics, was the cartoons of the 70s when I was a kid. Yeah. And, and there was the Spider-Man cartoon show from the 60s that was syndicated in the 70s, and the Batman show and the Super Friends. And the Hulk show, I was all about those shows. And then, of course, I gravitated towards the comics when I, discovered them on newsstands.
Yes. And, I didn't have a lot of money to buy comics when I was a kid, so I couldn't buy, I would buy an arc. I'd start buying an arc, and I'd be part of this comic club, like a bunch of us would trade comics. And because I was into the superhero comics, they would go buy the Archies and the random stuff and expect me to buy all the Batman, Superman, and all that.
Yeah.
So I would start on an arc of Batman, and then Superman would have this amazing arc, and I'd have to stop that arc and start buying the Superman arc and continue down that line. And because I wanted to get the biggest arc, and you know how they're always trying to get another big arc out right away, right?
Yeah, it's a constant cycle of new arcs.
Yes. But yeah, I like what they're doing with the Avengers. To me, I think it's probably going to be my third favorite of the year. Kind of sad to say there are three big ones, and it's probably going to be my third favorite one. But it's probably going to be one of my favorite comic book movies of all time, I think. I'm hoping so.
Same here. I think, for me, it'll probably be either first or second.
Yeah, do you love that line in the trailer where Captain America says to Iron Man, "What are you without your suit?"
Yeah.
I brought up the one what if Superman said that to Batman?
Yeah, that would be pretty much Batman isn't as funny as Iron Man, so he probably wouldn't think to say that.
Yeah, but if he did, it'd go something like this: I'm Batman without tights.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything he is doesn't matter when he's wearing the costume. He's not like Iron Man. That costume only keeps the secret identity.
He didn't Josh Whedon co-write the script?
I think so. I actually do think so. And
that has me really excited because ever since they announced he would be doing the Avengers film, I thought, oh wow, we're going to have this version of Iron Man by Robert Downey Jr. saying lines written by Josh Whedon. I couldn't be more happy.
I'm a huge fan of Joss Whedon. The only thing I don't like about Joss Whedon is that he gets snubbed by Fox all the time.
Yeah, that happens, but I'm just this Tony Stark and played by Downey is such a fun, snarky character, and man, he just falls right into his kind of characters. So
absolutely, I mean,
when I heard that, I was just not like, oh boy, someone cool is doing it. It was like, oh, this guy is the perfect choice to do it.
And he's famous for doing team books like that, or team or ensemble casts of whatever he does.
Yeah,
everybody gets their moment.
Yeah, Buffy the Buffy series has almost been a team book in a way. Yeah. Specifically, some points in the series where they all come together, and it's like, wow, it's called Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but it's almost like Buffy and her Vampire Slayers as a team. I mean, they work really well together, and I imagine that's how he's going to do this.
Yeah, and like same thing with Angel. I mean, even though Angel was in the name, Angel couldn't do everything, and there were entire arcs where Angel is not there, and the other guys have to take up the mantle and fight.
That's true. Yes. And I got to tell you, I got really dorky excited with that camera shot that circles them as they're looking at all the chaos going around them in the city.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh man, that's why I love this stuff.
Yes.
Just so I can just, hey, we all love good plot and in-depth character analysis and stories that, delve deep into the human psyche. But you know what? Sometimes it's just dorky, cool moments like that just get you happy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I mean, the weird thing is that usually all the Oscar-nominated movies do not add up to, or don't make as much. Altogether, don't make as much as one summer blockbuster.
Yeah, that's true.
And I find that hilarious, that people would rather go see dumb, fun movies than highly intellect movies that you would have to be a genius to understand.
Well, not have to be a genius. When you do a certain kind of film, because, there are plenty of bad summer movies that make a lot of money.
Absolutely, and they stop making a lot of money, but...
the smarter you go, the less money you're going to make, because, the masses will go, I don't understand this weird talking. I'm not going to see this.
Luckily, Dark Knight did not have that problem.
Well, that's the genius about Nolan. He knows where the line is to make dumb, fun, cool things and an intellectual film. I think he's really figured out that line you want.
And I'm hoping Joss Whedon also has that ability. I mean, he's a great writer and director, so I have no doubts that what he's going to do is going to be amazing.
Yeah, I have no problem with dumb fun movies, by the way. It's just as long as you do it from some kind of respect for the audience and some kind of artistic viewpoint, then I'm totally, whatever you want to do in your crazy movie, have fun. But, it can't come from a cynical place where you think everybody's going to go see it because you did this, this, and this. That's what I can't stand.
My biggest question is, why did they not get Joss Whedon to do the X-Men movies? I mean, it would have been like a perfect fit.
He would have been. He would have been great. But, the X-Men movie they did without him just recently, the First Class, I think that's a great film.
Yeah, that was unfortunately my second favorite film of last year, because I think Captain America was just that good. That I actually had a large not a nitpick. I actually had a non-nitpick with First Class. I only had nitpicks with Captain America. Mm-hmm. So based on that, that's why it's my favorite.
I think I like Captain America a little bit better, but I have to concede, I think technically the X-Men film was better.
Yeah. Well, my biggest problem, and this will only take 10 seconds, is the fact that I think the team was unnecessary. You have a cast of characters that are essential for your plot, but then you add in other characters that don't add up to anything and don't do anything, for the reason of just calling it an X-Men team, and to me that was the problem. I think they could have had a much better movie if they just focused on the 4 characters that were essential to the film, and not add in these other irrelevant characters that aren't adding up to anything, in my opinion.
I don't know. I didn't find it that distracting. I mean, I like their moments. They all seem to have their moments in the film.
Oh, absolutely.
And, even the character that got killed off early, that was his kind of like self-sacrificing moment, for him. But yeah, I don't know. I loved
exciting. So
yeah, I did love the relationship between Xavier and Mystique, which I didn't even suspect, existed, and it really brought it in-depth feeling when I was watching the movie for me, because it's like, wow, especially when they met as kids, and it's so sad because I know they're going to be enemies as adults, and when they're as kids, it's really kind of sweet, and that's going to be really bad someday.
Yes. Well, let's get on to Tori GNR1's favorite superhero movie of the year.
Which is what?
Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah, duh.
Yes.
There are so many coming out, I keep forgetting one.
Yes. I had worries about this film at first.
What was your concerns?
The fact that they were first of all, I still have a problem with the Lizard. I don't think the Lizard makes sense in a first film, because you don't have time to develop Kirk Connors enough to where, will I be completely invested in this character that when Spider-Man is trashing him, will I go, no, stop that Spider-Man, he's a good guy. I mean, that's
well, we hope so.
What?
Well, we hope so. We hope that's what he does.
Yes. But we're gonna have to see what they do with it, but from everything I've seen, the movie looks amazing, and looking at the various things that we can look at to see if this movie will be good. Did you see the movie Easy A?
Yes, I did.
That's the only movie you have to see that Emma Stone was a perfect casting choice.
She was fantastic. Although I have to say, I was a little disappointed she wasn't Mary Jane.
Oh, you think she would have been a better Mary Jane?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I think she's a terrific actress, so she can be Gwen Stacy. But I saw AZA and I thought, wow, she's totally Mary Jane.
I kind of felt the opposite, because she was more of an intellect in that movie. And
Mary Jane's smart in what she gives. She allows people to realize. I always thought Mary Jane was kind of, a smart mouth, and smarter and more intelligent than people give her credit for, and really cool. And I mean, and she had red hair too, and she looked perfect. What is this deal with redheads playing?
She's not a redhead. She's a blonde.
Oh, blonde?
She is a blonde.
Oh, okay, well, whatever.
Emma Stone is a blonde that dyed her hair red.
Oh, okay. Well, then fine. Then I retract my point.
Yeah, that's a misconception that everyone says, oh, why wouldn't she just marry Jane? She wouldn't have to dye her hair. Well, she had to undye her hair, so.
Okay, well, I still think as an actress, I think she would have been a fantastic Mary Jane.
Yeah.
So now, when they bring Mary Jane in, they better get somebody really good. Because here's the thing about Mary Jane. One of the things I didn't care so much for the Raimi series was they kind of combined for the first 2 films Mary Jane and Gwen, where she was more of a downer, actually, and kind of fretted more than I usually think Mary Jane would. So she wasn't as fun as a character as she, typically could be.
Yeah. This is Gamer. Goku stepped out for a second.
Oh, sure. Are we still recording?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Then we'll just keep talking. So what do you think, Gamer?
I'm happy that Gwen Stacy is going to be the love interest of Peter Parker.
Yeah, I agree.
It's closer to to the comics, you know.
Yeah, and if they do kill her off, it's going to be very kind of the payoff is going to be very huge. Because I was thinking that's what they should have done in the Raimi films. I really think Gwen should have been in the first film. I mean, they even did the bridge thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. They should have had her in the first film, but I don't know what they were like. Everyone knows Mary Jane, so I think they assumed that people wouldn't go see it if it wasn't Mary Jane.
I suppose so. I don't know. I always thought that it'd have been cooler if Mary Jane was in the film, but, you know, not the main love interest.
Well, I have a theory about this film. Tell me if you think this is possible. You know how these films usually close out on a big scene, something that gets you on going back to the theaters?
Yeah.
My theory is that the last scene of the film will be Peter Parker opening the door, and Mary Jane will be, you hit the tiger jackpot.
Maybe. I don't know, maybe. I actually have a theory that if they do something like that, it'll probably be Goblin related.
Yeah. I think so.
I think it'll be some mysterious guy at Osborn Industries. Hint, hint. Actually, there's an Oscorp name tag clearly seen in the trailer. So I think Osborn is in this universe, and I think he will be watching what's happening from the background. I
think this is going to be my big arcing theory that I said a lot was I think it's going to be a trilogy. And I think in the second film, we're probably going to see the Green Goblin flying around on on a glider, but he's not going to be the villain or the main villain. He'll be like a B villain doing random stuff. And then at the third film, we get the big payoff and the big and basically the first film done again, but correct this time. Well,
I think I've noticed that in franchises now that they've actually gotten more patient and intelligent with the way they've done it. Like they're following Nolan's lead, where the Joker wasn't in the first Batman film. It's hinted at the end that you're going to see him, and then we see him in the second one. And the Sherlock Holmes films actually followed this method, where we're hinted at Moriarty, and then he shows up in the second one.
Yes. I haven't seen the second one yet, but
the second one's amazing.
Yeah, the second one, it's really good.
I haven't seen it yet, but
that's what I think they're going to do with the Spider-Man movies. We're going to hint at Osborn or Goblin, and then we'll be seeing him in either the second or third.
Yeah. Are you mad that Joan whatever the heck his name is?
Jameson.
Yeah.
Yes. Are you mad that he's not in the film?
Oh, he's not in the film at all?
Nope. No, he's not.
Oh. Well, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
So Peter Parker's not supposed to be a photographer in this film?
Well, I think they might start the online thing that they did in the Ultimate Comics. And he might be selling photos online, and then he might be introduced in a later film.
Possibly.
I would hope so.
Yeah, I mean, they can't do this whole series without him. I can forgive one movie.
Yes.
But if they do, 3 films with no Jameson, I'll be really disappointed.
Yes. I will be mad if they don't recast who they cast before, because they cast Jameson in the first film. They actually, instead of getting an actor, they said, hey, you want to play yourself in the movie? And he was like, yeah. Very much like how they got Tony Stark to play Tony Stark in Iron Man.
Yeah. Although, I don't know. I mean, I can see another actor play that role. But, that's a hard role. That's a hard performance to top.
Yeah, well, he's doing it in the new cartoon, Ultimate Spider-Man. He's going to be reprising his role.
Oh, really?
Well, let's see. Well, here's the thing. It's not unlikely that he could reprise it in the new series. I mean, look at the James Bond movies, where Judi Dench plays M in the last 4 Pierce Brosnan James Bonds. And then they rebooted it completely with a new history, and she's playing M again, just in this new continuity.
I like the joke that I came up with, that M had a sex change, And now we just revealed that M originally was a female that had a sex change, and then had a sex change to become a female again. Because the new films are supposed to be prequels, technically.
Yeah.
And the Pierce Brosnan film is supposed to be the latest ones in the trilogy, so in between, it's just a little joke that
yeah. I don't know. I always consider them just plain new continuity.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is a new continuity, and you're not supposed to think about it. Like, the James Bond films aren't supposed to be interconnected that way. There's subtle ties, you know they're connected, but they're loosely connected. Like, you don't have to ever see a James Bond film to go see the next one, except for the newest one. The newest one being the one that's out right now, not...
Yeah, the newest ones are more connected than ever.
Yeah, like... You could see any of the Pierce Brosnan ones and never have seen a James Bond movie, and you won't be lost.
That's true. There was some connection with the Connery Bonds, and what's cool is the Lazenby Bond, has him get married, and then his wife is murdered by Blofeld, and then the next Connery Bond has it pick up from there, where he's looking for revenge in the first half of the film.
Yeah. I haven't seen those in a while. I've seen every Bond film one time, multiple times, but let's get back to Spider-Man. So, yeah, I mean, this, like, one of the things that I think they are going to do is I think they're going to hit with the Goblin serum in this film.
Yeah. I think the serum they work that creates the lizard, I think that's going to be a key to the Goblin serum.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, I certainly think there will be ties to the Goblin because the Goblin is kind of like the Joker of Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do him at some time, right?
Well, yeah, he's the big main villain of Spider-Man, so he's got to show up.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and I like. Do you like who's playing Spider-Man? I can't think of his name.
Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, he looks really good. And the second or third trailer I saw where he's talking, especially he's talking in the backseat of that car, he's got a good vibe for it. And it's looking like Mark Webb is going to have more fun with the character rather than make him a little bit more of a mopey guy than what Raimi did. I think...
Yes.
And here's the thing. I think Raimi's view of Spider-Man was the Spider-Man he grew up with in the late 60s and 70s. Because that, from what I read of Spider-Man, that seemed pretty close to what they were doing in the Raimi films.
Yeah, I do got to give a little... I do have to say a little thing there. I live in Michigan.
Yeah.
And Sam Raimi and, the other guy that's in all three Spider-Man films. Fred, I can't think of his name. The guy from Evil Dead.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell?
Yeah. They grew up in Michigan.
Yeah.
And I just gotta say that's awesome. That
okay.
Great talent can come out of Michigan.
That's right. I don't disagree with that.
There's a lot of Michigan.
And it seems like Mark Webb is going to have more kind of a fun take on the character. At least it seems to me from the trailers. Without forgetting the brooding part of the character.
Yes.
Yeah. It seems like Spider-Man is going to be more humorous.
Balanced.
Balanced and more on the humorous side.
Yeah.
When
he's Spider-Man, he shouldn't be brooding. Because that would probably get you killed.
Well, there is that side of Spider-Man, even in the earliest days of the character. It's just, I personally think Raimi paid a little too much attention to that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I completely agree with that. I do kind of find it funny that they casted somebody that's my age. Somebody, I think he's like 28. What's really funny is the actor who's playing Superman is younger than the actor who's playing Spider-Man.
Ooh, weird.
Wow. Yes.
That's blowing my mind.
What?
That's blowing my mind.
I find that kind of funny because that's kind of weird. Because filmmaking, you don't have to cast the right age.
You don't, and they often don't. Especially in the old days. I don't know how many old movies you've seen, like from the 50s, but it's hilarious when they like have movies with teenagers, and they have receding hairlines and crow's feet.
Yeah, like
it's like that's a teenager, all right. And what's hilarious is often they would like have extras around them who actually were teenagers or in their early 20s, and it would just make it more obvious.
Yeah, for example, the Blob.
Oh yeah, like the Blob is a good one.
Yeah, and the guy is like in his 30s, and he's supposed to be a teenager.
At least this guy is in his late 20s.
Yeah,
that's at least a plus. But he does have a younger looking face, and that's what matters. And makeup can do fantastic things.
Yeah, you can't forget makeup and lighting.
Yes, that's the big thing that like I remember. I don't know if you saw this film, but when the film Dragon Ball Evolution came out, people were looking at the Goku outfit and saying it was the wrong color orange. And when you finally saw the trailer, they color corrected it. And I'm like, you don't realize that every movie has color correction these days. If you're a Hollywood movie, you have color correction. Don't look at little pictures that come out. Like, that's the worst thing a film can have, because people analyze those and think those have any relevance to the film. And then when you see official artwork, it's completely different. It looks color corrected and all that, because they don't ever release something officially without it being done correctly.
Yeah. That's why I don't judge things when they first, show it.
I try not to judge a film until at least the trailer comes out, because I think a film should be able to stand on its trailer.
Usually.
Do you agree with that, Manos?
I think the trailer needs to be viewed in a way that it's advertising. It's trying to get you excited for the film, and it isn't the film.
No, it absolutely isn't.
And some people sometimes think it's the film.
Yeah.
Like, they'll say, well, why did he do that? Like, it's a 30-second trailer. Maybe the film that's 2 hours will explain why he did that in that trailer.
But what I'm saying is that a trailer should get you interested in a film, and that's what a trailer is there for. Because unfortunately, I can't research every movie that comes out, and a lot of times the only thing I'm ever going to research on a movie is the trailer. But eventually, I'll see most movies when they come out on DVD, and I'm open to seeing any movie. I just can't afford to go see them all in theaters, or I would be in theaters all the time. Because I love the theater. I love the theater, too.
I can't beat it.
Yeah, you grew up probably in a better time in theaters. I mean, I've never went to a drive-in movie theater.
My first movie was a drive-in movie theater. And it was Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah,
and what was cool was, let's see, I was, how old was I, 6? I was 6 years old. And what's cool is I was in my pajamas in the back seat and watching this movie where my dad had to get the speaker off this pole next to the car and hang it on the windshield. And we just, the family just ate in the car while we watched this film, which was a car film anyway. And what's cool is there were 2 screens in that drive-in theater, so I could turn around, and I remember it was a Bruce Lee movie. And I can't remember which Bruce Lee movie it was, but it was cool. I could look back and like see the other movie if I wanted to. Yeah. And then the 80s came around, and the 80s was like, that was the big mall movie multiplex thing. And I grew up in the middle 80s, or I was born in the middle 80s, so... Yeah, oh, then you probably had some exposure to that. And what I didn't care much about these theaters were, they were all about packing people in as closely as they can in these small theaters, and you could actually hear sometimes the action movie next to you in the next theater. Because they were all like almost like cubicles in a weird way.
Yes. I mean, growing up, I was luckily, like when I was 12, I lived in a little town called Melrose, New Mexico. It had 700 people.
Oof.
And the town next to us had 2 movie theaters. And together they had 6 movies going on at one time. They had 6 theaters. So if it was a small movie, I wasn't going to get to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, because when you only have 6, and in, like, any theater I go to now has like 20 or something. Some ridiculously high number of theaters. So it's ridiculous.
Did someone just go crazy somewhere in the background?
Oh.
Did I hear something?
Drinking water.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Sounded like a werewolf sneezed or something.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
But,
my pet werewolf did sneeze, so maybe.
Okay. Okay. But
you have to be really careful because they do bite.
Oh, that's not good. But there's a movie theater down the street from where I live called the Narrow, and the Narrow is an old movie theater it was originally built in the 30s, and it's got 1 screen, and it's sort of the art house theater in my area, and they show like art films and foreign films and big blockbuster films. They play just about everything, and it's so cool. It's 1 screen. It's got a big kind of old classic theater construction with a balcony, and they show Rocky Horror Picture Show there too, which is neat. Oh, and they show re-releases. Like I can occasionally catch an old movie there.
That is cool.
It's so fun.
It kind of reminds me of Royal Oak because that's kind of like that same thing. It has a lot of theaters. I don't go to those theaters often. I usually go to the multiplex, the big name brand ones.
Yeah.
Because you get better deals at those kind of theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Because whenever it's a corporation, they can give it to you for dirt cheap.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunately because a lot of things are dying. Because you can't compete with a corporation. You can't compete with virtually free. When somebody can give you something for so cheap that your head will spin, you can't compete with that. Because I know in the early 2000s, movie tickets seemed more expensive than they are now.
Well, they're trying to make up. They're always trying to make up for inflation and trying to make up for the deals to get movies in, and also compete with the fact that maybe if it's a slow movie year, then prices go up, unfortunately. So that those are all factors in. And there are people like me that sneak food into the theaters, which is the smartest thing to do.
Yeah,
I mean, you could pay more at the concession stand than it is to see the movie.
Yeah, I never ever do that. Like, my dad is the guy who buys everything, and we don't have a lot of money. Me, I pay $5 for a ticket, go see my movie, and leave. Because I'm going to be in there for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Eat before, eat after. You'll save yourself a lot of money.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I did once? Once I used to, I worked as an usher at a movie theater, and I brought in a couple of friends of mine to see Desperado when it was in theaters. And what was cool was I worked there, so I could do whatever I want. So what I did was I ordered a pizza from Papa John's. And I just had one of my friends who was one of the ushers to, just let me know when the pizza's here. And, yeah, pizza guy came and, brought it out, and we had Papa John's pizza while watching Desperado. That was a great night.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually been to theaters where I have a pop underneath my arm and completely visible signs. And they just let me walk by. They don't even care.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not going out of their paycheck.
But I will tell anybody who's young, if you get a first job, a first job would be great if you could do a movie theater, like usher or concessions. Or usher was great. I really enjoyed doing that. Because
I know that a lot of them get free movie tickets.
Yeah, I mean, you can often... I don't know how it is at every theater chain. I don't know if you have to pay at some places. But the one I worked at, I could just see any movie I want anytime for free.
Yeah. I know a lot of people I talk to, they say that they would rather go home after their shift is off so they never see free movies because they're working there all day, that they wouldn't. If I worked there, I'd be, I would be there more. I'd be there more than the theaters are there, and the screens are there.
Well, what I used to do was on my days off, I would go see, the movie. Like, if they had something cool, if it was opening, like, Friday, I'm working that whole weekend. I'm off Monday or Tuesday. I'll go see it then, and just stroll in.
Well, the one thing, like, people are saying, oh, why do you go to a movie theater? You have you have your big 60-inch television, 3D, high definition. You have your Blu-ray player. Well, I see a lot of midnight showings. Do you see a lot of those?
Not as much as I used to.
And after I get done, I'm not with friends a lot, so I'll actually start talking to people as I'm walking out of the theater. And at midnight showings, you have the fans. They want to talk all night. I've talked for over an hour one time after I went to go see a midnight showing with a fan about the movie. And that's a luxury you get at theaters that you would never get at home.
That's the thing I like about the whole movie theater experience. It's an experience, and it's sometimes a communal experience because you hear other people react to things as you watch, and it's almost in a weird way you're almost communicating with other members of the audience just by your reactions. And you don't get that when you're watching it on your iPhone. It's not as fun. I don't know. It's nice to be able to see it. I love being able to pop in a movie anytime I want, but I enjoy the big screen movie theater experience, and I don't think that's going to go away. I don't care, if you can download them in your brain in 10 years.
Sure.
I think there'll still be a need to go see movies with others in public, and it's still fun.
But they're going to have to find ways to get to make money. They're going to have to find new technologies and things to get you in the theater.
I don't know. I don't know if I totally agree with that.
Bigger is a way to do that.
What's that?
Make screens bigger. Give me a reason to go see it at the theater. I think that's a really good.
I think all you have to do is just have a good film and a good location, and make sure everything's nice and safe and quiet and fun, and that's it. You do really you don't have to really reinvent the wheel. Just make sure the wheel is in good shape.
Yeah. So the one thing I have noticed, and tell me if you get this a lot. I never get this. People don't ever talk text or do anything while the movie's going on. I go to the movie all the time, and I barely ever hear anybody. I never see anybody ruining the movie.
That's true. Well, I mean, of course, I'm sure some people do, but I think after the first, I think that was a big problem in the first few years of cell phones and texting, when that became really, the norm. But I think now, after a few years, I think it's become part of the thing. It's become like don't talk or smoke in the theater. I think that's kind of now don't talk, smoke, or text in the theater. I think it's now, for the most part, become, part of polite society. Like, oh, I shouldn't, pick up my phone and yammer away to some jerk.
The only
we're trying to watch, this movie.
The only thing that does ruin it, though, is when someone brings their 1-year-old kid.
Yeah.
They're crying 2 rows behind you.
Drives me crazy, and it always happens.
Sorry, there should be an age limit.
I agree. I know. See, they won't do that because they'll be turning down money.
Yeah.
Yes, they would be, but I mean,
they won't do it.
Yeah.
But
so what
right.
we should do is we should all basically we should find a way to protest this. Why
would you take your 1-year-old kid to a movie theater anyway? It's too loud for them, probably.
So the idea is that you don't want to pay for a babysitter.
Yeah, or you really want to see this movie and you can't get a babysitter, and it's either take the baby or not see the movie. Every time I go to a movie, no matter what time, you'll go, okay, good, no babies. And the trailers start, and then comes the family with the babies who are 10 minutes late. Oh!
Yeah.
I thought we were going to get away without it, and here they are.
Yes.
I agree with Hitchcock. When the movie starts, no one can come in.
Yeah, they should do that. They should lock you in and just hope there's never a fire.
Yeah.
Yes. Really quick, let's talk a little bit about Superman before we get going.
Mm-hmm.
It's not coming out this year, but it's eventually going to come out. Do you think it's going to be any good?
I hope so. I don't know much about the plot. I just know I really love Zack Snyder. I'm of that persuasion that really likes his work. And I am excited to see him have Superman beat up things.
Well, he's very stylistic, and I think that's really good for what they're for Superman.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't work for Batman. I could never see him doing a Batman film. Or, Batman's stylistic, but I don't think he's stylistic. He likes colors and vibrant things. And I couldn't see that for Batman. That's what Superman's all about to me. I don't like the villain they're doing, but that's because we've already seen that villain in live action. Why do him again?
Yeah. I don't know.
I also don't like the 3 sizes too big cape.
I don't know. I don't mind it. Yeah. The superhero, the Superman symbol on his chest looks really good, though.
Yeah. I also don't like the bulge, if you know what I'm referring to. I'm hoping that's going to be fixed in post-production.
Who knows?
like people are like, oh, he's not going to have underpants. We don't know yet. Have we seen official artwork that does not that shows off the leg area? No, we have not. We officially have seen no official artwork that shows off. So we don't know what the costume will look like once everything is done. Like I was saying, the cape 3 sizes too big. Well, that might be fixed in post-production. We don't know. The magic of filmmaking. You can add or take away anything you want these days.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they can do whatever they want, especially since they postponed the release, which was probably a good idea. It's like we got Spider-Man, Batman, Avengers. That probably would have been one too many for maybe audiences.
Yeah. There are other comic book movies coming out this year, but nobody knows their names because they're getting... Like, I mean, this is a bad year to be releasing a comic book movie.
Yeah, because everybody's doing it. And, if you're doing Superman, you want that to be one of the big ones. You don't want to, like, be mixed in with the others.
Absolutely. And, and you don't want to be competing, and Warner Brothers, I don't think, wants to compete against themselves.
And yeah, you're right. They would be doing that. They would have Batman and Superman in the same year. It's like, well...
Probably in the same month.
Yeah, that's true. And you don't...
And that would be horrible.
Yeah.
What if it was like 1 weekend behind, and Dark Knight came out first, and then Superman was the second biggest film the weekend it came out because everyone went to go see Dark Knight? That would be horrible.
Yeah. And I don't think DC wants to embarrass one of the two.
Yeah.
Like, what if, the Batman film trounced the Superman film? That would be kind of... that wouldn't be great. I mean... Frank Miller would be pleased, but that would be it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they do need to eventually make World's Finest movie, but
I'd love that. I could go for a Trinity movie or Justice League film.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that okay, we have 2 characters that whenever a movie comes out, they do well. You put them together, you don't think you're going to get bigger numbers?
I know. Well, I mean, people have so many disagreements on how to make one character in a movie. I mean, now put 2 characters in a movie. And I think filmmakers have had a classically bad problem figuring out Superman. I don't know why, but a lot of filmmakers have had they can't seem to recognize, how to work this character on screen as well as filmmakers have been with Batman.
Don't get me started with games.
Games.
Like, video games, they've never made a decent Superman video game.
Yeah, I don't know why that is, too.
And you would think it would be a little easier than you think because, you have the problem that he has every power in the book. A checklist of every power that exists, Superman has, 90% of them. But you can make powerful characters, but you gotta make a good. It's not as hard as people think, but But certainly making a film shouldn't be that hard. The problem is Lex Luthor is not the greatest villain for film.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think filmmakers understand that a normal human doesn't work good for a 2-hour film. I don't think. Do you think Lex Luthor works good for film?
I think Lex Luthor works good for film. I don't think they particularly used Luthor as well, barring the I don't know, maybe the first two. Well, the thing is, he's like Batman without the abilities, but he's just as smart, and he has, well, depends on which continuity you use. I mean, he's either a thief on the run or a billionaire. I prefer the billionaire. I prefer the John Byrne post-crisis Luthor. I think that was the best Luthor.
I love the billionaire one, who basically, he's not the main threat, but he creates the main threat.
Yeah.
And I think he would work really good with Bizarro.
Yeah, well, he's often in the animated series. He was kind of the creator of Bizarro, and I think he created the John Byrne Luthor created Bizarro as well.
Yeah, and that would work perfectly on film, I think.
Yeah, well, it would also make sense. But yeah, I mean, Superman has lethal, villains that he can fight, and I don't know. I'd love to see Darkseid. I'd love to see
so would I.
Doomsday.
Darkseid.
I want to see Brainiac.
Oh, they're there. Maybe it's just expensive. I mean, you can't do it on Lois and Clark. You can't have Brainiac show up.
Metallo.
What's that?
Metallo.
Yeah, Metallo. I mean, he has these villains. They just, filmmakers don't often use them.
And like Metallo wouldn't be that expensive to do, I don't think.
Well, I mean, you can interpret him in several different looks. You can, go really far out with the look, or you could really simplify it, where it's just maybe a guy with, some makeup applications, with the chest and stuff. Or you could go crazy with them, CG Transformer kind of thing.
Yes.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and they did the Terminator in the 80s.
Exactly. I mean, that looked great, and that had a $10 million budget.
Yeah, and today, Superman would get, like, what, a $200 million budget?
Yeah. I wish also big films would kind of figure out how to do things for a little smaller budget, so they don't have to, make as much. I don't know. I really do feel like, I've seen some really good films on a smaller budget. Like Robert Rodriguez makes really cool films on a small budget. And, Sin City and Planet Terror weren't that expensive. The horror movie Insidious was only $1 million.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Well, like a good example, believe it or not, Lord of the Rings is a really good example for that.
Mm-hmm.
That was done for $30 million.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
All three had the budget of $30 million.
Wow. Didn't look like it.
Yes, and right there, that's why I say it's a really good example.
I actually haven't seen any of the movies, but from what I've seen, bits and pieces of it, it looks like a really, like, it would be a high-budget film,
I don't think The Hobbit had a $30 million budget, but...
I mean, I've seen films come out that are just romantic comedies with an $80 million budget. It's like, where does that money go? I mean, you just have people talking on the street for scenes. I mean,
yeah, like there was the new one that what's that movie called? Jack and Jill.
Yeah.
Red Letter Media's Half in the Bag actually did one that they basically said that was just a scam. That they spent all their money on actors. Mm-hmm. Like they gave all the money to the actual to all the guest stars in the film.
Yeah.
And then they spent like $1 million on the movie.
Well, that's a problem right there. It's like sometimes big stars cost too much.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they were like the whole insinuation was that they were paying people. They were paying like people that had like 5-minute roles, like actual money.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah. I mean, that's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous because the point is that first of all, there are actors that are worth X amount of dollars.
Well, yeah, Pacino has a small part in that film.
Yeah, he probably got a lot of money. That's why I like actors like Johnny Depp. Like, people insult Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp will do a movie for very little if he likes the movie.
Yeah. Bruce Willis does that, too.
Yeah, and that shows you that they're actors because if they think something is worth doing, they'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah, Bruce Willis, I think, really learned to do that with Pulp Fiction because he worked on scale for that one. And that movie revitalized his career.
And that's another thing is actors should I think they should start getting the big actors percentages.
Well, that's always a good idea because they can if they do a good movie and it hits, then hey, they can make a bigger paycheck. Like Nicholson famously did with the '89 Batman. Yeah,
and then if the movie doesn't do well, you didn't spend that much money on the movie, so it doesn't have to be a big phenomenon film. Like, the point is that as much as movies like did you see that new movie that came out, John Carter?
No.
The budget is reportedly $250 million. And
did they go to Mars and shoot that?
Yes, they did. They actually shot on set on Mars.
Man, that's a bit pricey.
Yes.
It looks like a really amazing film, though.
It's getting bashed, I think unfairly bashed, but
Isn't that... I heard that's what inspired, what did that story inspire?
That didn't inspire Star Wars, it inspired what inspired Star Wars.
Yeah.
Do you know of John Carter?
I know he's a character that's existed for a long time, and I've never cared about him.
Oh, you never cared about him? Well, he was done by the guy who wrote Tarzan.
Yeah, I know. I don't care.
Oh. What?
I've never cared about the character.
The fact that science fiction is the way it is because that had a lot to do why science fiction is the way it is, and it's sad that it's sad that the movie didn't get as well received as I hope it did.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I respect John Carter's place in history.
Yes,
but I'm not interested in the character. I've never found him. I've never found him interesting.
And that's completely understandable because you can't like everybody.
That's right.
Yeah.
I always thought it was weird that they chose to just go with the name John Carter and leave off the Mars part.
Well, the actual book is called Princess of Mars.
Yeah. Well, they should have called it that or John Carter. Well, I mean, what they should have done was called it John Carter of Mars. I mean, that's something. It's interesting.
Well, that's the last book in the series, which is a book in the series, so.
Well, Scott Pilgrim versus the World isn't the name of the first book in that series, and.
Well, the point is at least that would have got more people in the theater, I think.
Yeah, but I mean,
there are people. I'm sure there are people that heard John Carter. Oh, that's probably going to be some sappy. That's probably going to be some stupid film. I'm not going to go see it.
Yeah, he's probably going to be like, talking to Ashley Judd on the beach or something.
Yes, and if they would have put Mars, at least that would have put the science fiction aspect of it.
Yeah, it tells you it's a science fiction movie. It's like calling the movie Steve Johnson.
Yeah.
It's like Steve Johnson. Yeah, that's going to be a great film. He's going to
or it'd be like calling an Iron Man movie Tony Stark.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh yeah, let's see Tony Stark.
Yeah, and then it doesn't do well, and they're like, why didn't this do well?
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe you named it the wrong movie. People don't think names matter, but everything matters on a film.
And names do help. But, it's just, I don't know. I've never been a big fan of the guy marooned somewhere and becomes a savage hero thing. It's just never been my thing.
And and I can completely understand that. Hopefully it does get a sequel. Hopefully it makes its money back. People are saying it only got $30 million, so it's going to be a flop. It got a lot of money overseas, but it could pick up steam.
Yeah, well, if they could have cut costs, they should have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm hoping that's only a rumored price tag because because people get false price tags all the time. This movie cost $200 million. Oh, it only cost $100 million. Oops.
Yeah, well, I don't know. See, there's this philosophy in Hollywood that if you spend that much money, that makes you look awesome, and you're going to have a great film, and it's going to make that back. It's like, well, no, you're just making it harder to make your money back by going overboard with the budget.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, technology is at a place where you could probably cut that down. And just be creative in some places.
Are you a fan of Xena or Hercules?
I'm never... Oh, the Xena Hercules thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was more of a fan of Xena, but yeah.
Well, those do not look... those look really good for the times those were made. I mean...
Yeah, on the TV budgets that they were made with.
Yeah, because like every episode was a different setting.
Yeah.
And I know, and it's amazing what they could do on a budget like that, because like things like that usually don't get made because people say, oh, well, you're not going to have a set, that's going to cost too much money. But the beautiful thing is when you shoot New Zealand, I don't know if you know about New Zealand, they let you do whatever you want.
Yeah, they're very wise. They've been very wise. I mean, the Xena Hercules series, the Lord of the Rings series.
Yes, they let them build an entire city or an entire town for that movie.
Yeah, that's smart. That's just smart thinking.
Yes. Yeah, and I mean it's amazing what you can do. And when you know where to put your money, it's amazing what you can do because Lord of the Rings, believe it or not, they did not pay high price tags for any of their actors.
Yeah.
Which, if you don't pay your actors a lot of money, if your actors care about the product they're doing, you can save a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine if Tom Cruise was in that trilogy? That would have been... that budget would have been insane.
Yes, absolutely. And it would not have made the movie any better.
That's right.
I mean, like, you can put any actor you want in a film, but when an actor cares about what they're doing and they're trying to make a good film, that makes for better filmmaking. Yeah. Well, we've been chatting for a while. I think we've reached the end of our topic. Do a couple shout-outs before we get going. Real Manos.
Oh, yeah. Well, I self-publish a comic book called Red Knight, and it's available. You can contact me on YouTube or the Facebook page. It's you can reach me at either one of them, really. Just look up Red Knight on Facebook or hit me up, The Real Manos, on YouTube.
Okay. Cool. And, yeah, go check out Real Manos' channel. There should be links below to both the Red Knight comic and his channel.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And, yes, this was Goku471.
And I'm Gamer.
And I'm The Real Manos.
And we'll see you next time, YouTube. Okay.
There we go.
Yes, can you,